My name is Matt Ekohawk Hayashi. I'm a proud board member at Real Change, and I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we're gathering here on indigenous land, on the territory of the Coast Salish peoples. So we want to say thank you to the Duwamish, Suquamish, Muckleshoot, Snoqualmie, and all the Coast Salish people who have lived in and with this land from time immemorial. So a quick change of plans as we get started here. We wouldn't be Real Change without throwing some real change at you. Our keynote speaker, Lisa Dugard, director of the Public Defender Association, had a family emergency this morning. She won't be able to share her remarks with us. But we do want to mention that the PDA, the Public Defenders Association, has been working under her leadership to build alternatives to the justice system that impacts so many in our community. Their LEAD, or LEAD program, Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, established in 2011, is the first pre-booking diversion program of its kind in the United States and offers a model for other programs around the world. PDA's LEAD strives to divert low-level drug offenders and others to case management, care, and services instead of traditional booking and criminal prosecution. In Seattle, the homelessness crisis is impacted by a disproportionate amount of contact between the people experiencing homelessness and the police. This overexposure to the criminal justice system creates a revolving door where opportunities to find housing, care, and other services are diminished with each contact with the police. LEAD has developed strong relationships with both clients and law enforcement to divert some of the arrests and create pathways back to society. And we are grateful for their work in changing a system with a fraught history of misuse and harm. So thank you to Lisa and all at the PDA for this work. PDA is represented here this morning with the table. Let's give them a round of applause. I don't see them, but they're here somewhere. Thank you, PDA. So in Lisa's absence, I'm proud to share that Tim Harris and Israel Byer will take over the keynote remarks this morning and share the history and future vision of the International Network of Street Newspapers, INSP. Okay, some thank yous. I want to thank the workers who have made this event possible, from the catering and the cleaning crew, the electrical workers, the organizers. Thank you for your labor. Teamsters Local 117 and SEIU Local number 6 and Unite Here are all working here to make this event possible. Thank you. And our friends from Organized Labor, we stand in solidarity with you and thank you for recognizing and supporting the work of our vendors. Thank you to Protect 17, Pacific Northwest Regional Council of Carpenters, UFCW Local 21, we are proud to be partnered with. Yeah. And journalism matters. In this age of alternative facts and with print media under pressure, I am beyond grateful for the hard work of the dedicated journalists in the Real Change newsroom. What you do matters. Will you please stand as I read your names? Lisa Edge, reporter and communication specialist. John Williams, art director, and Ashley Archibald, staff reporter. Thank you. Our new editor is in the room too, Lee Nkosi. Welcome to Real Change. Welcome to Lee, yes. I would also like to thank the elected officials in the room. Your support is vital to push forward towards meaningful systems change. Mike O'Brien, Lisa Herbo, Frank Chop, Jean Cole Wells, and Nicole Macri. And I'm sure there's others that I did not get on my list, but thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. This room is so full this morning because of our incredible table captains. Thank you to our table captains. Shout out. Our incredible sponsors make this event possible, allowing donations to go directly to Real Change. Thank you, sponsors. And our matching sponsor this morning is the Lucky 7 Foundation. This fund will match gifts of $250 and up this morning. Come on, people. And donors will also receive a t-shirt like the one I'm wearing right now and a sticker. Donors who give $500 or more will be entered in a raffle to receive a framed vintage cover of their choice. So please give generously this morning to help power our programs. Now, please join me in welcoming to the stage the founding director of Real Change, who has organized homeless people for over 30 years and built Real Change to what it is today. Please join me in welcoming Tim Harris to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. You look beautiful this morning. One of the coolest things that has started happening to me is meeting people in their 30s that began buying this paper when they were kids. And they tell me about how when they were little, their parents would hand them $1 or $2 to take over to the Real Change vendor. And they learned that homeless folks are not people to be afraid of, that they're just people like everybody else. And they're still buying the paper today. They're making new friends, they're building our community. And the most surprising thing to me about all of this is that I've remained 33 this whole time. So the math there gets a little challenging for me. There's so much that I could say, but we have a really packed program this morning with a lot to celebrate. You might be aware that homelessness in Seattle has roughly tripled since Real Change started 25 years ago. And I don't need to tell you that the last few years in particular have been especially rough. Homelessness has been deployed as an urban wedge issue, where the politics of fear and disgust have been weaponized, both in our local politics and nationally. This week, he who shall not be named weighed in, blaming left coast liberalism for homelessness, saying that homeless encampments should be swept and the people who live there move somewhere else. This mythical somewhere, where we don't need to witness the misery caused by radical inequality and institutional racism, is where things always go wrong. Our capacity to shelter, house, and heal when we don't deal with our broken tax system and the broken politics of greed can never keep up. But I'm hopeful because I see that things are turning. That revolution of values that Reverend Martin Luther King spoke of 52 years ago at Riverside Church begins with building communities of hope and resistance, communities just like this room. And it begins with the love that brought you here this morning, that connects you to the people in this room and beyond. So this morning, like our newspaper, will inspire, it will inform, and it will leave you wanting more. We're here to celebrate our community and the power that comes from that, and we are here to raise some money. And I'll be back a little bit later to talk about that. But now, I'd like to introduce a face familiar to many here. Katie is a longtime Real Change volunteer who joined as staff this year. Please join me in welcoming Real Change volunteer and community resource coordinator, Katie Comboy.
Thank you. This morning, I'm honored to recognize the volunteers who so graciously dedicate their time and talents to Real Change. Last year alone, 245 volunteers served 7,690 hours. From copy editing the paper, to stuffing envelopes, to organizing the clothing closet, Real Change is only made possible by these amazing volunteers, so thank you so much. This morning, 31 volunteers got out of bed and showed up here at 6:30 a.m. to make our breakfast a success. Please join me in giving these volunteers a big round of applause. It is now my honor to present the Volunteer of the Year Award to two outstanding individuals who have given so much of their time, their energy, and skills to support the Real Change mission. Mary Nye has been a Real Change volunteer since 2016. She brings her extensive editing and newsroom experience to the editorial team as a copy editor, and she's helped to make sure that the resource guide is fit to print. So the next time that you pick up your copy of Real Change, picture Mary combing over every single line of text to make sure that we don't have any typos. Tafari Maynard has been volunteering for about a year now, and honestly, he brings so much fun to the sales desk. He's a communications major with a focus on journalism at the University of Washington. He started as a resource guide volunteer, moved to writing our vendor profiles, and is now the friendly Thursday morning sales desk volunteer. Mary and Tafari, who's probably volunteering right now, will you please join me on stage to accept your awards? Thank you so much, Mary and Tafari, who's again volunteering somewhere, for your service in the community. I'm inspired by your generosity. I would now like to welcome to the stage a colleague of mine who I admire greatly. I'm sure you are familiar with her beautiful writing, coverage of arts, culture, and so much more. Lisa began at Real Change volunteering as a contributing writer, but has now been a staff for over 3 years. She has a degree in broadcast journalism and over 10 years of experience in television news as an anchor and reporter. Please join me in welcoming Lisa Edge, reporter and communications specialist.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah. All right, so the Real Change Newsroom produces a 12-page award-winning newspaper every week, and I know you all buy the paper every week. Read it front to back. So this paper is not like any other paper. It represents the livelihood of more than 600 people who are homeless and low income. It represents the voices and stories of people who are too often unpublished. And it represents the pursuit of truth in a time when journalists are struggling against censorship and spite. This newspaper matters. Celebrating the newspaper's 25th year, I'm honored to present a brand new award. Yay! The Editorial Excellence Award goes to an individual who has supported the vision of this newspaper and uses fighting words to shift our ways of thinking and taking action. Hannah Brooks Olson stepped in as our interim editor last year, lending us her leadership and vision. Hannah's monthly Access Denied column is always and on time, very critical, and is a smart, critical look at local and broader issues. From technology, immigration, privacy, and bathrooms, Hannah's writing never fails to reveal new perspectives and challenge you to think differently. Hannah, please join me on stage to accept your award. Hannah, on behalf of the newsroom, thank you for being your part of Real Change.
Of course,
Thank you. Real quick, as the communication specialist, I have to say, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're tweeting today, please use the hashtag RealChangeBDay. Yes, thank you. So Tiffany McCoy has more than 10 years of experience as an organizer, working for the labor community as a lobbyist and in campaigns. She works closely with the vendor organizing committee at Real Change to drive action towards anti-poverty solutions. Please join me in welcoming lead organizer Tiffany McCoy to the stage.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. Who wants to talk about poop and pee? I do. Anyone else? Well, if you look on your tables, you will find a copy of the book, Everybody Poos, or a packet of campaign postcards. This is the name of our new campaign to win funding for 5 mobile pit stops in the city budget for 2020. Right now, Seattle only has 6 24/7 bathrooms that are functioning, I say that loosely, within our city limits. And we believe that since everybody poos, everybody should have a place to go, whether you are housed or unhoused. This is about basic human dignity. This is about basic human rights. Seattle's record on public toilets is an abysmal failure, and we want to start correcting that. There are action cards, as I said earlier, on each table. We ask that you fill them out and share a time that you had to go to the bathroom when you were out and about in Seattle and couldn't find a place to go. We will be sending these cards to the City Council, and I'd really love for you to take the time to fill one out before you leave today. Please feel free to leave it on your table, and I'll go around and pick them up, or on any of the tables as you exit the breakfast this morning, and I'll make sure that those make it to the City Council. Let's make sure that we win this campaign. Now, I am pleased to introduce this year's Change Agent Award to Sochi Makovich. Sochi is the political director for Washington CAN and co-chair of the Seattle Women's Commission. This past legislative session, Sochi and Washington CAN championed a complete overhaul of the eviction system here in Washington State. She is now advocating for legislation in Seattle to not charge domestic violence survivors for damage caused by an abuser. In Auburn, Sochi and Washington CAN are organizing mobile home tenants, and in Federal Way, they are working with the city to develop the rental inspection program and also working on an initiative for good cause eviction protections. They just finished knocking on over 30,000 doors in Federal Way to gather the signatures and to plant the seeds of a movement for the Good Cause Initiative. Sochi proudly asserts herself as an asshole for justice, and we are proud to call her our Change Maker of the Year. Sochi, please, thank you very much for coming. I don't have your work. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Sochi. And we're going to welcome Mac back up to the stage.
Hello. So Rebecca Marriott, Real Change's vendor program manager, has only been with the organization for just under a year, but in that short time, she has done so much to build a caring, inclusive, and welcoming environment in our vendor center. Rebecca has close to 20 years of experience in workforce development and a degree in social work with an emphasis on community organizing. We're so lucky to have her as a member of our team. Please join me in welcoming Rebecca to the stage.
Good morning. Thank you for the warm introduction. I've enjoyed getting to know all the volunteers, incredible staff, and of course the vendors. In 2018, according to the King County Medical Examiner's Office, 191 people died presumed homeless. This is the fourth consecutive year that that number has grown. Let us take a moment to remember these lives, and let us take a moment to remember the Real Change vendors who have passed away over the last year. Sharon Jones, Robert Sawyer, Stephen McCausey, Jamie Tilton, David Rice, Frankie Rodriguez, Danny Wyatt, Abias Crosby, and Darcy Day. We honor and remember you. Thank you. It is now my honor to give out 2 awards. Each year, the Real Change vendors vote on 2 outstanding vendors to receive the Vendors of the Year award. This year, the nominees truly each bring something special and unique to the Vendor Center every day. It has been an honor working with and getting to know each of these vendors. 2019 Vendor of the Year nominees, please stand as I read your name. Rose Gascon, Daryl Wren, Sean Wilson, Candy Ream, Steve Gunn, and Laura Deach. Please join me in a round of applause for the outstanding vendors. Before I welcome our winners to the stage, I would like to share a bit of their stories. Thank you to Dylan Priest Photography for these videos. Here are Yamani and Evie's stories.
My name is Evie Levitt, and I'm a Real Change vendor. I first started Real Change, I believe it was about 3 or 4 years ago. I found out about Real Change. There was a vendor that I knew. He goes by the name of Kathmandu. And he kept saying to me, well, Evie, you're not really doing anything right now. Why don't you sell the paper? And because I had been going out, hanging out with him and watching him sell the paper. And he told me, he said, it's pretty easy. You'll be a natural. You love to talk. You're a social butterfly. He said, what do you have to lose? So I came in. When I first started selling Real Change, I thought to myself, you can't sell a thing. You know, I was completely nervous. It seems easy to engage people, but it really isn't as easy as it looks or other vendors make it look. So I was pretty nervous. What changed was once I found my location and I started seeing the same people and they started recognizing me and they're like, well, I guess this girl isn't going anywhere. So they were saying hi. Real Change impacted me because when you're homeless for such a long time, you become complacent, you feel helpless, hopeless, and when I walked through the doors, I felt a sense of like, okay, I'm at home, I'm around people that understand. The vendors and the staff are great with making you feel better when you're going through such a crisis, you know, and that's what people need, to feel like they're important, to feel like they're heard. To my customers, and this is for the ones that are my regulars, I wouldn't have made it out of homelessness without them. Vendor of the Year award, it's huge. Because I mean, it's hard to be voted on by your peers. So for me, it's a huge accomplishment. It says, hey, I guess she's been doing something right. You know, I would like to congratulate all the women and, you know, the guys too. Because, I mean, that was a hard group, you know. So anybody that won would have been a good pick. So congratulations to them too. What I would want people to know about Real Change is, and I've said this before to my customers, if Real Change didn't exist, I don't know what a lot of people would do. It allows you to have a job at your own pace. It just makes you feel better about yourself. This city is very lucky, and we're very lucky to have Real Change.
My name is Yamane Berhe. I'm vendor of the year. Then I came here from Alabama for 4 months. I didn't have a job. I was homelessness for a little while. Then I found a job from the vendor. The first when I selling, I'm shy, I'm scared to see my country people because he's selling what he doing, you know, sometimes I hide it. Why should I clean floor or clean a bathroom? I just selling the paper. If I make money, that is the money. Since I start, this is the real change. I work 4 days a week, every Saturday. My rent I cover in 4 days. I help my family back home. I help my 2 kids in DC. It's fun. I know a lot of nice people every single day. If you do a good job, the community, the people, Seattle people is good, you know. If you stay in one place, like 4 days a week in one place, the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you build your own customer. If you show up today, the next week, if they told you people, I'll see you next time, communicate with the customer all the time. You have to be nice with them. They take care of these people. One month is when I go to DC, or mostly for my regular customers, I bring them gifts. I bring between 200, 300 t-shirts from DC. I give them my customer, they're happy. I'm a good person, they're good to me, I'll be good with them, everybody. I don't know, they like me, a lot of people. I'm working at Street Treat, the ice cream. The lady, my customer at Mercer Island Farmer Market, she's selling the truck ice cream. She buy the paper from me every Sunday. Then I ask her, can you look me the job, just a part-time I need, like dishes, whatever. She say, okay, I'm looking for you. He can help me dishes and cleaning. I say, okay. She told me 10 hours a week. Can you help me 20 hours? I say, okay. Can you do 30 hours? I say, okay. Between 35, 40 hours a week and plus the farmer market. I have to let you know all my customers. I have to say them thank you for everybody. They helping me there. The community is very nice people in Seattle. I love to the real change. God knows, but I love the real change.
Evie and Yamani, please join me on the stage to accept your 2019 Vendor of the Year awards.
Good morning, everybody. Okay. Everybody, you might recognize me for last year because I was nominated for Vendor of the Year twice. I appreciate the other vendor for both for me. I want to thank you, my customer, at the University Street Farmer Market and Post Office, and as the Columbia City Farmer Market, a West Seattle Farmer Market, a Madonna Farmer Market, and Mercer Island Farmer Market. I have gotten to know so many of my customers. Thank you for your support. I have been a real change vendor for 8-9 years. At the farmer market, I met Miss Diane selling street ice cream sandwich. She got me a part-time job in her kitchen. I helped my brother and my sister in Kenya for 4 years. I am happy that I am going to meet my brother and sister from Australia and meet with all my family in Sudan this year. I'm able to do this because of the success I have had here. Thank you for being a part of my story. Thank you, guys.
Morning. I would like to say welcome to our readers, vendors, friends, and family as Real Change celebrates its 25th anniversary. I'd also like to say that everyone nominated, outstanding job. Anyone that would have won would have been a great choice. It was a tough act. So I first came to Real Change, I think it was about 4 years ago. I had so much fear and anxiety because I never sold anything but Girl Scout cookies. So I didn't know what I was gonna do. A fellow vendor who recommended me to Real Change, he goes, Evie, you got the smile, you got the personality. He goes, and the paper sells itself. And probably most of you, the paper sells itself. You know, no one has to browbeat you to get it. People will give you a helping hand these days because they say an honest day's paid for an honest day's work. And our readers believe that this is the best paper in town, street paper or not. When I first walked through the doors of Real Change, I instantly felt like I belonged. There was a sense of camaraderie, everyone was welcoming, the space was warm, you could feel the love in the air from vendors and staff alike. And we got a, sorry, I was gonna say kick ass, but we got a great staff. When I walked through the doors of Real Change, you know, I felt like I really did belong. Real Change gave me my confidence back. My life was going topsy-turvy. I just had a miscarriage. I felt hopeless, helpless, broken down. I went to the office just a few days after the miscarriage, and it allowed me to set my own hours, generate an income, meet and set my own goals, and once again feel like part of society, a contributing part of society. I didn't have to rely on my family and my friends so much. It was all me this time, you know, because for about 4 years, I needed them greatly. And it's just amazing what Real Change has done. And a lot of this I wouldn't have been able to accomplish with the awesome vendor program staff that we have. Every time they think there's something wrong with you, they're right there, right in your face. What's wrong? Something's wrong. You can't tell me that there's not anything wrong. They are really there to guide you. This is the best organization in the city right now. I could be a little bit biased, but I believe it is. And I love being a Real Change vendor. I love it so much because everyone has a story, and I love hearing everyone's story. Now, what would this city do without Real Change, especially for 25 years? People get desperate and they do things that they probably didn't want to do because they need money. This allows you to become your own boss, set your own hours. The unspoken needs someone to advocate for them, and that's what Real Change does. With our readers, we would not be. So to you guys, I give a big warm thanks, and that's a clap for me. I don't know where you are, Tim. Mr. Timothy Harris, we would not be here, so I give you a warm thanks, and I'd love to give you a great big hug. Because even when you see there's something wrong with us, you know, you come down, you would check in the vendor center and see, did anybody need anything? You're always there for us. You're the real deal. I thank you for creating something that was so powerful. You know, I salute you, sir. To our vendors, keep doing what you do because we got this. Real Change got me out of homelessness, and I can't ask for more than that. You know, it gave me my life back, and I'm grateful. To my fellow vendors, never falter, never give up, because we will never fail. I'll end this with a quote from Dr. Maya Angelou. Go out, be a rainbow in someone's cloud today.
Thank you.
Congratulations again to our Vendors of the Year. That's what Real Change is all about. And thank you, Evie, for those very, very kind words. Well, I'm up here again with another amazing person, Sean Wilson.
Hello, everyone.
And we are here to ask this morning that you dig deep to help us change lives. We've got a bit of a division of labor worked out here. I'm going to talk about what we need you to give. Sean's going to talk about why. So, to those of you who have already made a donation, thank you very much. We've raised about $60,000 prior to this morning. That is the good news. The other good news is that today, in this room, we need to raise about another $97,000. Oh, no applause for that, huh? So, table captains, this would be a good time to hand out the donation cards and pens to your guests. Our good friends at the Lucky 7 Foundation have led the way here this morning by boosting their breakfast match this year to $25,000. 25 years, a $25,000 match. That is a beautiful thing and really helps us toward this morning's goal. So thanks to Lucky 7. Gifts of $250 or more are going to be doubled this morning. And if you give $250 or more, you will get one of these beautiful t-shirts that we're sporting here, and wait for it, a bumper sticker. So this is where we look around the room and we do some quick math. If everybody here gave $200, we would meet the whole goal. But that's not going to happen. Because, I mean, you've looked around the room, right? Not everybody here is going to be able to give $200 this morning, and that is just fine. We know that everybody is here to give from the heart. Everybody is here because they love real change. And those of us who can do more are going to make the difference this morning, and it will feel amazing to know that you have helped us meet our goal. After 25 years, the thing that feels most magical to me, this is what I see every day, what I'm privileged to see every day, is how this community helps make people whole. And that all begins with you and your support. But right now, I want to introduce Sean. His story is in this week's paper. I hope you all had a chance to read it. Before Sean came to Real Change, he was homeless for 16 years. He was isolated, he was alone, he was drinking to kill the pain. During that time, Sean didn't want anything to do with anyone. He'd given up all hope, tried twice to jump off the Aurora Bridge. You would never know that talking to him today. When Sean told me about his road back, he said two things that really pierced my heart. The first was about his gratitude and amazement. He said, why would anybody be so patient and kind and caring to someone who don't give a damn about nothing? And the second was that the hardest thing about becoming a vendor was learning to accept people's kindness. That kindness, that unconditional support of Sean's success was what made the difference. So I am deeply honored to know Sean and deeply grateful for his courage to share his story this morning. So please give a Real Change warm welcome to Sean Wilson.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I want to talk a little bit about myself and how I got here today. It had been like 2.5 years after some intensive therapy. I began volunteering at places I traveled when I was very desperate and alone, and stood in long lines like food banks and places where you could just get a blanket and hope that it was dry by the time you got to a doorway or a bridge or something like that, you know? But I really wasn't making a difference at those places. I didn't feel like it. I just felt like I was a laborer, and I was still alone. So I would travel that bus line that rode past this gentleman, and there he stood, Willie Jones. He's that guy we passed by with those amazing jackets, all those patches he had on him. Yeah, great dude. And I saw him flipping papers on the corner, just smiling, just a great big smile. Big as the Pacific Ocean, about as big as you can get. And I admired that, so I asked him about what he was doing, and he told me he was selling the paper for Real Change. So I eventually made my way to Real Change. I checked it out anyway. I processed all the way through it, the orientation, and there I went. Like most vendors, I went and stood on someone else's turf, you know. Well, I did. Very cautiously, though. And I stood, it was a gentleman that allowed me to stand on their property at a Safeway grocery store. And man, I stood so far away from that door, you just didn't know if I was selling that paper or if I didn't have nothing to do that day. But I knew there was two things I had on my side, and that was that Real Change newspaper and my smile. I did. Yeah. It helped me to begin opening up to my new beginning. And the support I started receiving, it was helping me learn how to communicate with people I would probably never have met, and appreciate it, and sometimes learn how to live and work in a new environment that I never, and I do mean never, would have seen in my entire life. And it meant something to me. Customers, most of my customers and other, customers would stop and look me straight in the eye and show me their support, with encouragement, love, and it came all in a bundle. I certainly didn't know how to grasp that, but as time wore on, in an unbelievable way, I was slowly becoming a part of their community. And some people helped me with that. I have many amazing relationships with so many people. I could never describe how valuable this is. As much as I love to talk, no one would guess that. So, through the support of many donors, friends, customers, small children, they made this for me over there, little feet, waving and calling my name has allowed my relationships to grow with the two biggest gifts of my life. One, my best friend ever, I call him Dougie, his name is Douglas, and my mama. My mama, she used to give, we've had all our lives. Well, at least I did, and I didn't really, I don't want to go there. She didn't get a peep out of me for like 8 years and 4 months to the day. And I didn't talk to her that day. I dropped the phone in therapy. Couldn't talk, but I heard her scream. Yeah. She didn't know whether she would ever see her child again, but now she is able to ask me how my day was, humble me, and give me undying love at every turn, every turn. So, when you give your support today, please remember, not only do you give a vendor a life-changing opportunity, but you may be bringing comfort to his or her family. So I thank you very much.
Thank you, Sean. That was so amazing. And thank you to everybody in Sean's community who came here to support him this morning. So, again, $250 gifts or more are matched by the Lucky 7 Foundation. And there's one more thing. When you give $500 or more, you're going to be entered into a raffle. We have 6 framed vintage covers of Real Change like this. So 6 lucky people will get one of those. They get to choose what cover they want framed. So that's pretty cool. The framing is donated. We always use your money wisely. I know that the perks of giving are fun, but they're not the point. The real reason you give is to make sure that people like Sean, people like Yemeni, people like Evie, and all the vendors that you see are able to be their best selves. You make that possible. You are the love that makes Real Change work. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for being here. So we have a surprise guest this morning. Real Change is not only the leading street paper in North America, the street paper that all the other street papers in North America want to be, but we are part of an international movement of street papers. I'm privileged to be on the board of the International Network of Street Papers with a half dozen people from all over the world. International Network of Street Papers has more than 100 member papers across 24 countries. It is an amazing organization. We learn from each other. We all try to work together to figure out how to be the best street papers that we can be. None of us has to reinvent the wheel anymore like I did back in 1992 when I founded my first street paper in Boston. So recently, we have launched the International Network of Street Papers North America. The INSP is based in Glasgow, Scotland. INSP, and they serve street papers, like I said, all over the world. INSP North America is an opportunity for leading street papers like Real Change, and we're the 501c3 sponsor for this project. Give a lot of support to it, helping to build it and make it work. We are out to help other street papers in North America, many of whom are really struggling, little papers with 1 or 2 heroic people on staff who are making it work year after year, helping them to develop and be the best street papers that we can. So we are privileged this morning to have Israel Bear with us. He is the former director of Street Roots in Portland. He has left that position to lead up the International Network of Street Papers North America. And when I called him at 5:45 this morning and said, "Would you like to share some remarks?" he said, "Yeah, I can do that. Anything to help," because that's the kind of guy Israel is. He is an award-winning housing advocate and journalist. Recently, just last summer, Israel is a man after my heart because he is what we call a straddler, somebody who comes from poverty and working class conditions and has sort of, learned how to maneuver in the world of you middle class folks. And he has a 10th grade education, and he just last summer received an honorary doctorate from Portland State University for his work. So please welcome to the stage Israel Baer.
Thank you so much for having me here this morning. It's great to be a surprise guest. I'm not going to sit up here and lecture any of you on the injustices that the world is facing right now and that all of our future generations are facing. All of you are fully aware of what's happening on our planet, and it's more than a heavy burden for all of us to carry. Racial and gender inequality, mass migration across the world, homelessness, climate change, and ultimately environmental collapse. Also, did everybody make it to their seats today? I personally spent most of my adult life living and working with people experiencing the trauma of homelessness. I've witnessed the strength of the human spirit when faced with some of the harshest living conditions in the modern world. I've witnessed ordinary people do extraordinary things for other human beings. I've seen really good people forced to do really horrible things, and bad people provide acts of kindness towards others on the streets. Never giving up on the idea that regardless of our circumstances that we all find ourselves in, that we should never give up hope, and we should never stop believing in one another. When I first started working on the streets, I would go and talk to a gentleman named George. He was an old World War II vet, sleeping on the streets of Portland. He's long gone now. I'd talk to him about politics and life and times long gone. And the most important advice he ever gave me was that when the going gets tough and when the world is bearing down on you and all of us, is to simply breathe and to think about who we are actually here to serve. It's the people, George would say. And if that's the only thing that we accomplish in our lives, then we've all done our job. The reality is we all need one another, all of us. The human experience does not happen in isolation. We are not self-sufficient creatures, no matter what we've been taught or told. No one person walks this earth alone. In fact, none of us would be here in this room today without the help of other human beings, regardless of our own circumstances, regardless of where we come from. Together, we make up a series of social circles and villages that we're all connected to. And if we can do anything in this life, we can take the time to listen to one another, to ask for forgiveness, to forgive, to believe in one another, regardless of all of our flaws or missteps. The reality is we will fail in this life. We will all fall flat on our face at times. We will screw up. We will do things we are both proud of and things we are not proud of. But regardless, it's up to all of us to continue to work to make the world a better place. The vast majority of human beings want to do the right thing given the opportunity, and that's why we thank you all for being here today. It's up to us to be humble enough to admit when we're wrong, but courageous enough to never stop trying to make the world we live a better place. After all, we don't need a passport or borders or walls or nationality or a religion or an institution to determine the experience of love and radical justice in our world. Today and every day moving forward, we have the opportunity to strive for that radical love and to work towards justice for all people. Today, as we speak, there are thousands of street paper vendors selling street papers all over the world. Today, there are thousands of immigrants walking on the long road across many continents in search of a place to call home. Today, we have the opportunity to overcome great challenges in this life. We have the opportunity to refuse hate that is permeated throughout our country and our world. We have the opportunity to walk into the world and choose love. And we thank you for being here today. Because we have the opportunity to serve one another, we have the opportunity to make the world we live a better place, we have the opportunity to truly come together in community, one street newspaper at a time. We have the opportunity to make real change what it is today. Let's go change the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Man, from 5:45 in the morning, are you kidding me? Thank you, Israel, for that call to action and for showing up, brother. Congratulations again to Evie and Yamani for winning the Vendor of the Year award. Yeah. To Mary and Tafari for the Volunteer of the Year award. And to Sochi for the Change Agent award. Thank you. Congratulations. And we want to say thank you again to our incredible sponsors for making this event possible. And thank you to our outstanding vendors who are at the center of everything that Real Change is. And thank you to you. Thank you for writing those big checks, adding another zero. You still can. You make our work possible, and you are the heart of our community. If you made a gift of $250 or more, a reminder, and you still can, you get a t-shirt, this awesome t-shirt. Please stop by the table on your left on the way to pick up your gift. Also on your way out, please stop at the table on your right to complete a card to send city council members regarding the Everybody Poos campaign. Fill those out, yeah. Everybody does. And as you go out about the rest of your day today, you may find that your perspective has changed a little bit after listening to these stories of courage, compassion, and action. I urge you to share that shifted perspective. Talk to your friends and your colleagues about what you've learned today. Buy a paper. Say hi to your vendor. And remember that we are all a part of this together. Thank you for coming, and we will see you next year.